Powerful morning, Pilipinas! Mabuhay and welcome again to another webinar series. We are now on series 4 of Leading Champions. This is brought to you by Pelta Multimedia INC together with Power and Semified Robotics Learning Center. And today we will talk about the socio emotional impact of robotics competition on students with our guest speaker from the Department of Science and Technology and Claret School of Quezon City. And of course, with our very own Miss Jenny Lu Pangilinan Riel of STEMify. So magandang umaga Pilipinas, malapit na po ang pasukan, 1 week na lang at tayo po ay mag-o-open na ng ating school sa DepEd. So ang mga guro po ay talagang prepare no, para po sa mga learners po natin sa buong bansa. Before we proceed with our formal program, of course, let us ask guidance from the Lord. Let us have a short prayer for this morning.
Giver of all wisdom and greatest of all teachers, look upon our teachers with love. Grant them the resolve to nurture our eager minds and to never give up on us who fall behind. Bless their hearts, for they rejoice when we succeed and encourage us when we fail. Endow them with gentle patience, for the path of learning is never easy. Kindle a spirit of passion in them. It is the flame that ignites the love of learning in us. Help them see the potential in each student. Their belief in us means much more than the grade we make. Instill in them a commitment to keep on learning. It shows us to not fear new knowledge and experiences. Inspire them to touch the future, the influence how big a dream we dream for ourselves. Bless our teachers who have come before, for the work endures to this day. Let the lights of your example shine upon all teachers, to build up with their words, to love with their mind, to share with their heart. Amen.
So powerful morning again, Pilipinas. We have here our educational partner, Ms. Maylin Abiba from Pelta and Jenny Lu Pangilinan from STEMify. So magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat, mga partner no, with our webinar.
Good morning.
Yes. Sige, Miss Jen.
Sige, sino ka una?
Hindi, good morning lang ako.
Powerful morning all. And thank you so much for again joining us for our 4th series for Breeding Champions. And we know that you are joining us because you want to learn and you want to win and you too want to be a champion. So thank you so much for spending your Saturday morning with us. Powerful morning to all.
Okay, Ma'am Jen, maybe ikaw naman. Bati ka rin.
Good morning, everyone. So today we're going to discuss about the socio-emotional impact, both for students parents and for coaches, of course. So we're going to have Coach Rox and Nerissa to join us today. And of course, andyan pa rin ang ating mga partners, Mamaylin and Sir Wax. So we'll see how the competitions in robotics give an impact to the students, to the teachers, and to the community, especially for parents.
Yes.
Okay.
So,
So
so
yan
we'll
po ang mga inihanda.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, and just to add what Miss Jen has mentioned, it goes beyond competition. So
Mhm.
what we want to happen today is how we are really mentally preparing our learners and even our educators and coaches to have a success mindset, success in life, success in personal life, and also to be confident in all the future, in their studies or as well as their chosen career. So that's what we're going to be doing today.
Okay. And of course, no, para po sa ating mga manonood na nakasubaybay, lalo tigit sa ating mga kaguruan, our webinar is broadcast via Facebook page ng Pelton Multimedia. Nakashare din po ito sa Power INC and sa YouTube channel po ng Pelta. So, just click and subscribe po para mas lalo pa po kayo ma-update with our activities with Pelta. Okay, so what
All
now?
right.
Ma'am Jen.
I will introduce our first speaker. Pwede? Yes?
Yes. Tama?
Yes. All right.
Yeah.
And he is actually a pioneer. I would consider him as the trailblazer, one of the trailblazers in robotics education, because the school, Claret School of Quezon City, was one of the first 8 brave schools who joined us 20 years ago. So ganyan na po katagal ang aming pagsasamahan, 20 years na. And proud to say that 2 of his sons actually became part of the robotics team, and one of his sons even traveled with us to Washington D.C. when he represented the college level for the first global championship, which was first held in Washington D.C. So he was part of the Philippine robotics team at that time. All right, so let's now welcome our first guest for today. He's the robotics head of Claret School of Quezon City to talk to us about time management. He's both a teacher and a coach. Please welcome Mr. Roxanne Cosico.
Good morning, Sir Roxanne.
Good morning, Sir Rox.
Yes, Sir Rox. Nakamute ata si Sir Rox. So
Yes.
while Sir Rox is preparing for his PowerPoint, okay, so let's give him a time.
Patok ang robot sa mga bata at pati na rin sa mga young at heart. Pero ang iba hindi na nagpapili kung sila mismo ang gumagawa ng mga robot.
Sila na, nakakabili ba yung ganyang bata? May potential silang maging future engineer o inventors.
Tama, gaya ng mga batang nagtagisan sa 2014 Philippine Robotics Olympiad. Ibinida nila magawa nilang robot na may iba-ibang abilidad. Ang patok na balita, ibandila mo, Bettina Magsaysay.
Honor and pride, we shall present to you our project.
Bibong-bibo ipinagmalaki ni Sally, Abiji at Blue ang kanilang project na Scanbot. Kaya nitong tukuyin ang mga lumilipad na bagay sa space gaya ng meteor at sirain ito bago pa man tumama sa lupa.
No matter what, win or lose, we're gonna send this message to NASA. If we send this to NASA, they will approve this robot. And when they approve this robot, they will be sending this robot outer space.
Agaw pansin din ang spade o mitigation robot ng elementary students ng Dr. Yangas Colleges Incorporated. Sumasayaw pa ang mga presenter. May 3 kategorya ang kompetisyon: technical, soccer, at creative category. Hindi na itago ni John Dexter ang panghihinayang na hindi napasok ng kanyang robot ang mga bola sa technical category.
Grabe po yung kaba. Ngayon ko lang nararamdaman po pagkatapos po nila. Grabe, pero exciting po talaga.
Matapos ang ilang oras ng presentation, kabilang sa mga nanalo ang Dr. Yangas Colleges Incorporated.
Masaya po, sa experience po.
Siguro po, dagdag pressure. Very thankful po kami kasi malaking blessing po na manalo kami.
Higit sa kompetisyon, gusto ng organizers ng Philippine Robotics Olympiad na mahikayat at ma-develop ang abilidad ng mga bata na future engineers, scientists at inventors.
Ang nanalong 12 grupo ang bubuo sa Philippine contingent para sa 2014 World Robot Olympiad na gaganapin sa Sochi, Russia, kung saan 36 na bansa ang lalaho. Bettina Magsaysay, ABS-CBN News.
All right.
Okay.
So just to now, let's bring back Mr. Roxanne Cosico to talk about time management as a teacher and as a coach.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. How are you today?
Ayan, Sir Rox, ready na ang iyong slides.
Okay, take it away, Sir Rox.
Magandang umaga ulit. This is Teacher Rocks. And thank you, Miss Maylene, for inviting me here to share our experiences as part of the robotics team. I would like to share with you some tips on how to become a champion. And hopefully, for those who are new in robotics, I could inspire you to join and participate in the Philippine Robotics Olympiad. It's a great experience, not just for students, but as well as for teachers. Well, my topic for today is learn how to have time management between teaching and coaching robotics champions. But before that, I would like to offer a prayer to one of our robotics coaches who had undergone surgery. And that's Sir Nike. So I hope Sir Nike get well soon. At this talk, you will learn to do the following. Learn the benefits of time management, clarify your goals and achieve them, handle people and projects worth your time, be involved in better delegation, work more efficiently, come up with a to-do list, learn specific skills and tools to save you time, overcome stress and procrastination, and learning remotely, and be concerned about your well-being. Well, who we are, our journey, and how did we get there? So, for your information, we've been joining robotics for more than 15 years now. And through those years, it's not all smooth sailing. Mind you, we encountered a lot of difficulties, a lot of challenges, but we just have to overcome them and move on. So we've lasted this long, so I think we've been doing something right. So let me introduce to you my teams who have been part of the robotics scene in Metro Manila, in the Philippines, and in the world. So most of my teams are composed of students from Claret School of Quezon City. So they belong to the elementary as well as to the high school unit. So in the past 3 years, we were on a lucky streak because these awesome dudes in this picture have been winning the soccer robot event for 3 consecutive years. And how did they do it? It's all about time management. So I'm also going to show you some of our members who have been very, very excited every time that we join competitions. So these are my teams who've been to the last Olympiad held in Hungary. And also we've been to Costa Rica and even get to meet our sister school in Costa Rica, Colegio Clariciano. And of course, we've traveled to other places and we've competed and we brought home some special awards. And of course, all this would have not been accomplished if not for the support of our school directors, our principals, especially to Father Santiago, and of course, our teachers like Teacher Maurice. And also, Mrs. Relente and Miss Razorly Ibanez, our school principals. Well, our journey took us several years to get to where we are right now. And mind you, it was a lot of challenges. We were facing a lot of barriers, but we just have to go through with it and learn how to adapt and survive. Of course, I could not do it all alone. I have teachers who have been helping me all throughout, like here, Miss Angel. So we've traveled in different parts of the world because of the dedication and the energy of my students. Remember that time is money. That was the saying from Ben Franklin. Now, what is the problem? The problem is, by some estimates, people waste about 2 hours per day wasting their time. Now, how do you know that some of these people are wasting their time? Well, of course, you will find messy desks and cluttered, but of course, it's not all of them because there are those who are also messy, but yet they are very productive. They could misplace things, miss appointments. They have to come up with they have to reschedule, or they would come up unprepared for meetings, and also they would volunteer to do things other people should do. And at the end of the day, they are so tired and they are unable to concentrate. So time must be explicitly managed, just like money. Much of this won't make sense until later, and then you'll find out that it's too late. What are the benefits of time management? Now, let me tell you, time management allows you to save time, to reduce stress, to increase our work output, to have more control over our job responsibilities, helps you to prioritize things, get more done in less time, more quality work, help to discipline ourselves, and making sure that we deliver what is promised. Now, let me show you this chart. What is the difference being busy versus being productive? Let's take a look. Well, you will be labeled as busy if you have numerous priorities and you always respond with yes very fast and you always keep all doors open. You also keep on talking about how busy you are. And you are a multitasker. You try to do jobs simultaneously as many as you can. And you always ask for advice. Now let's take a look at what a productive person is. Well, a productive person have only a couple of priorities. He thinks twice before saying yes, and he closes all the doors so that he can concentrate on his work. Let the results speak for themselves. Concentrate on one important goal and gets the job done. Now, which category do you fall? I hope you are on the productive side. Hear me now, believe me later. Being successful doesn't make you manage your time well. Managing your time will make you successful. Set your goals. Several years ago, I promised myself when I turned 50 that I would climb another mountain. And true enough, with some friends, I was able to achieve my goal. So we went to a mountain in Rizal. Going up was not a problem. Going down was the problem. It's good that we have our guides, which became my caregivers. Now, the point is, you have to set your goals, your priorities, and you have to come up with a plan. Now, you might want to ask these questions. Why am I doing this? What is the goal? Why will I succeed? And what happens if I choose not to do it? Prioritizing your time. What is important is seldom urgent, and what is urgent is seldom important, according to Dwight D. Eisenhower. Now, let's take a look at this urgent slash important matrix. Well, if you don't do the important tasks, what will happen? They become urgent. Now, looking at this chart, The first one is urgent and important. The second is important but not urgent. The third is urgent but not important. And the last one is not urgent and not important. So let's put up some examples so that you will understand it much better. So on the first quadrant, what is urgent? Well, it becomes urgent when it turns into a crisis. Or it could be a pressing problem. Or you have to beat a deadline, or you have to submit a project, and you have a meeting within the next couple of hours, or there's an urgent meeting going on. And of course, preparations. So those are the things that are urgent. Now, what is important but not urgent? We have preparation, prevention, planning, relationship building, true recreation. Of course, you want also to uh, enjoy empowerment and values clarification. Now, what are the things that are urgent but not important? This could be interruptions, some phone calls, some mail, some meetings, and some popular activities. And finally, things that are not urgent and not important. Examples are trivia, junk mail, some phone calls, time wasters. Well, some could consider social media. It could be a time waster if we spend more time on it rather than productive time. Huh? And of course, you have your other escape activities that would hinder your productivity. Now, let's take a look at the Pareto's principle. In the 1900s, Mr. Pareto came up with this principle, the 80-20 principle. What he wants to say is that you have to put your efforts where there will be a bigger difference. So for example, your 20% actions would result to an 80% results. So here are some of the things in the 80-20 rule. Critical few and the trivial many. Having the courage of your convictions. Good judgment comes from experience. Experiences comes from bad judgment. Well, to give you an example, so here in the Philippines, we are an agricultural country. So, for example, there's an agriculturist who owns only 20% of the land, but what he does is to concentrate and come up with his best effort to make his crops grow as compared to the other 80% who unfortunately does not have the means like what we have like what he had. So in the end, he will come up with a better or more um, bigger crops to harvest. So that's just one example of the 80-20 rule. You can also apply that in your job. Do what matters most. If you can dream it, you can do it. That's what Walt Disney said. When he started dreaming And building the Disneyland, it took him only 366 days from groundbreaking to first day, which he opens to the public. That's his dream. And you too can dream. So dream something big, dream something that you can accomplish, and work for it. Why is planning very important? Well, failing to plan is planning to fail. You should plan each day, each week, each semester, each school year if you're a teacher. You can always change your plan, but only once you have one. Of course, how can you change it if you do not have any plans at all, right? That makes sense. Now, to-do lists. So how do you make a to-do list? First, you need to break things down into small steps, like a child cleaning his or her room. Do the ugliest thing first. Well, here's the four quadrant to-do list. Now let's take a look at this one. For number one, list down what is the most important and what is due soon. The second quadrant, you write down the things that will not be, that the deadline would still be far. And the third and the fourth would be the not so important things. So if you have come up with this list, you can now focus to work on what is important. How about paperwork? Well, clutter is death. It leads to trashing. Keep your desk clear. Focus on one thing at a time. A good file system is essential. Well, as much as possible, touch each piece of paper once. Touch each piece of email once too. Your inbox is not your to-do list. Do you have a productivity journal? So what's a productivity journal? It's a timeline of your day-to-day activities. It's like making a to-do list step by step. Well, for step one, you need to capture everything you need to do. So come up with a list. And then step number two, follow the ABC method of priority. Just like what we did earlier. So we group things according to their priority. Step number three, find out how long does each next step would take. Would it take you an hour, a day, or a month? And then, of course, step number four, take the action when done. And that would give us a nice feel every time that we accomplish something, even how small it is. Chunk, block, and tackle. Well, what does this mean? It means that you have to break down your project into smaller, manageable pieces. You have to set time for specific tasks, avoid interruptions, tackle one task at a time. Well, here are some examples on how you can be organized. So, I have here a calendar in Microsoft Teams. So here I have listed down my weekly schedule. And here's another one in Microsoft Outlook. As you can see, it's more detailed and it includes not just your schoolwork or school schedule, but as well as your personal schedules. So at a glance, you can immediately know what are the things that are going to happen on a particular day. And you can already make plan for it. As much as possible, plan what you want to do at night so that you will be ready the following day. And of course, for the Philippine Robotics Olympiad, that is what my boys are always looking at. So, as you can see, the PRO comes up with a schedule months ahead of the competition. So, what we do as a team is that we try to look at the schedules and we match it with our training schedules. So, for example, we already know that the dry run will be held on September 12th. Well, it's different right now because we started our school year only last July. So, but otherwise, we would have prepared even during the summertime. And of course, you should know in advance what will happen because you already have this list and you already know when and how you are going to adjust your own schedules so that your team will be ready for the actual event. So here are the time management advice. Come up with a time journals. You will be amazed on what would be the output. Well, you can monitor your activities in increments. For example, you can monitor on an hourly basis or days or weeks, no? To find out whether you have accomplished anything on the deadlines that you have set to yourself. Okay? You can update every 1/2 hour and do not wait until the end of the day to determine whether you are following your schedule. Now, scheduling yourself. You don't find time for important things. You make it. Remember, everything you do is an opportunity cost. This may be hard, but you should learn how to say no. Using time journal data. So you need to come up with this. What am I doing that doesn't really need to be done? What am I doing that could be done by someone else? What am I doing that could be done more efficiently? What do I do that wastes others' time? So if you ask yourself these questions, then you can have a better roadmap on what you are supposed to do. Why is it important to learn how to say no? Will this help me get tenure? So you ask yourself, well, if if it will the answer is no, then you may turn it down. Will this help me get my master's? Same as question number 1, right? So try to weigh the things or the tasks that you are going to do. Will this help me get my PhD? Keep help me broadly defined. So it's not that you don't want to help, but rather it would be impossible for you to accommodate everybody who is asking for help. Why? Because that would eat up your own time. And then, instead of accomplishing your task, you are out there helping somebody else. How can you say gentle no's? Well, you can try to use this approach. I'll do it if nobody else steps forward, or I'll be your deep fallback. But you have to keep searching. Okay? Moving parties in grad school. So try to be nice even you are trying to say no. Everyone has good and bad times. Find your creative thinking time. So is it early in the morning, in the afternoon, or at night? Huh? Defend it ruthlessly and spend it alone, maybe at home. So if you find that you're more productive at 9 in the evening, make sure that you will not be interrupted while you're doing your task. Find your dead time. So if you know that this hour um, is open for other things, then that is where you can schedule meetings, phone calls, and other mundane stuff during those times. Interruptions. Well, 6 to 9 minutes of interruption would result to 4 to 5 minute recovery time. If you have 5 interruptions, that would amount to 1 hour. So you must reduce the frequency and length of interruptions. Among them, you can turn off your phone, or you can, stop opening your email so that you can focus your work. Third thing, save apps. Now, another thing are the noise coming from your cell phone each time that you receive a message or an email, or when your screen on your computer pops up every time a junk mail comes out. Okay, so those are interruptions which you can control. Now, how do you cut things short? Well, you can say, I'm in the middle of something now. Start with, I only have 5 minutes. You can always extend this. Stand up, stroll to the door, compliment, thank the person, and shake his hands. Well, it reminds me of my mom. My mom, every time that we go out and we get to meet a friend, she will talk endlessly, just about anything. And the the 30-minute travel to the grocery store would end up 1 hour or sometimes even 2 hours because she keeps on talking to her friend. So try to say that you should be cautious about your time. No? Clock watching on wall behind them. Wow, here comes the biggest problem. Procrastination. Procrastination is the thief of time, according to Edward Young. Balancing act. Work expands so as to fill the time available for its completion. Parkinson's law. How do you avoid procrastination? Doing things at the last minute is much more expensive than just before the last minute. Deadlines are really important. establish them yourself. Comfort zones. Identify why you aren't enthusiastic. Fear of embarrassment, fear of failure. Get a spine. Delegation. So I am blessed that I have teachers who would help me in my work, not just as a robotics coach, but also in my academics. So why is it important that you should delegate some of your tasks? Well, no one is an island. You cannot be a superman or a superwoman. You cannot do it all by yourself. We all need a little help from my friends. That's the Beatles song. You can accomplish a lot more with the help of your co-teachers, co-workers, your friends, your family. Most delegation in your life is from faculty to graduate student. Well, don't get the misconception that delegation is dumping. Of course not. You are granting authority but with responsibility. So, in my robotics team, I delegate tasks to the senior students because they are more responsible and they are respected by the younger students. So that relieves me of many tasks that would otherwise consume more time. So if I would delegate this task to other members of the team, then I can focus to other things. Mind you, I have to look out for several teams because we are always participating in many events and it is very difficult to monitor 3 or 4 teams practicing in different classrooms or in different laboratories. So you need people to delegate your tasks. Come up with concrete goal, deadline, and consequences. Here's one important thing. Treat your people well. You may be able to delegate 1 or 2 tasks, but then instead of being thankful, it's the opposite. And people will not like you. And next time you ask them for a favor, they may not accommodate you. Well, grad students, secretaries, faculty members are your lifeline. You may need their help. For example, I'm a robotics and computer teacher, but when we have our robotics open category presentation, I need to tap the English teacher. I need to tap the science teacher because they are more knowledgeable. And it is very important that you get along with these co-workers or co-teachers. They will help you. They will go out of their way to help you if they find you warm, cooperative, and always appreciative of their efforts no matter how big or small it is. A simple thank you can go a long, long way. Challenge people. People rise to the challenge. You should delegate until they complain. Well, you can give tasks to your students as long as they're capable of doing it. Huh? Communication must be clear. Give objectives and not procedures. tell the relative importance of this task. Well, your bosses, your advisors are just as important as any member of your team. So, what are the things that you have to do? Get a day timer, write things down, always be aware when is your next meeting, and what's the goal that have to be done, who to turn to for help. Remember, your boss, your coordinator, your principal wants results. Okay, care and feeding of advisors. Take note, your advisors or mentors knows more than you do. Okay? They are out there to help you. Well, they didn't get where they are by their social skills. Take the initiative in talking with them. I would remember my mentor, Mrs. Butaran, who started the robotics in Claret School, and I would always look up to her for advice. No? So it would be great that you have somebody who can mentor you. Well, on vacations, phone callers should get two options. If this can't wait, then better come back on a certain date. Okay, this works for email too. Vacations should be vacations. It's not a vacation if you're there reading email or you bring along your test papers to be checked. Okay? Well, what are the other things that would hinder you from doing your work? Oh no, if you're a fan of K-drama, think first because this will drag you down and this will occupy a lot of your time. Okay? Turn money into time, especially important for people with kids or other family commitments. Of course, don't forget to eat and sleep and exercise above all else. Never break a promise, but renegotiate them if need be. If you haven't got time to do it right, you don't have time to do it wrong. Recognize that most things are either pass or fail. Feedback loops. Ask in confidence. Okay? So these are the things that would help you. Now, if you are working in a group, especially in the Philippine Robotics Olympiad, we are always participating in the open category. And the open category is the most tedious task of all. Now, you cannot do it all by yourself. So, you have to work in in a group setting, no? And involve parents as much as possible. They can help you a lot. So, be friendly with them, no? You socialize with them, um, learn to know their names, what are their occupations, and you will discover that some of them are very talented. Okay? So, I can ask help from a parent who owns a hardware. So, I can get discounts from, if you need any materials, you can go to the hardware store owned by a parent and you can avail of big discounts or props, right? And also, there are parents who are engineers or architects and they can give you tips, they can give you advice for uh, helping out in designing your project for the open category. This is important. Let everyone talk. Everyone wants to be heard. So before we start in any design process, I would ask the parents about their opinions, and I would ask the students about their opinion as well. So it's a give and take relationship. The students would want this, but sometimes what they want is not achievable. So we have to again go back to the drawing board until such time that we can come up with a better solution. Check your egos at the door. So, hindi pwede dito yung payabangan, di ba? Kailangan everyone should be heard. And then as a coach, you now have the responsibility to weigh all these suggestions, all these comments, no? And at the end of the day, you will be the one to make the final decision. Okay? But don't forget to praise everybody who helped you along the way. Give them a shout out. Give your students a thumbs up every time that he does something good. Avoid conflict at all costs. Of course, you cannot fight with your students or your parents because this will only result to unproductive work. Okay? Now, let's go over to the 6 steps to managing a stressful situation. So here are some simple steps. Number 1, stop just for a moment. Think about what is going on. Number 2, breathe. Take 3 deep breaths. Inhale deeply and exhale. 3, stand up. Stretch. Release the tension in your body. That would release some of the tension. Next, of course, reflect. Consider what is really going on. Analyze. No? What can you do now to cope? Do what works. Choose. Recognize that you have choices. Encourage. As you breathe out, say to yourself a simple word or phrase. Kalma ka lang. Wait. Step back. This will pass. Or, I'm doing the best I can right now. So these things are some form of encouragement to yourself. Huh? Keep breathing slowly and deeply. This is what the advice given by Harvard University Student Mental Health Services. Okay? Don't lose your mind. Now, and lastly, we have here learning remotely and well-being. So we are in a different situation right now. So what are you supposed to do? Number 1, take care of yourself. Studying or working from home can be very stressful. Experiment with some different strategies that might help you manage the stress. Try working in 30-minute or 1-hour increments and spend the last 5 minutes doing some light exercises, such as jumping jacks, push-ups, air squats, sun salutations. Okay? Try to take a daily walk outside, especially if you're staying in a place that is restricting or in a confined area. Try to go out, walk, and refresh your mind. Look at the greenery. Try to keep healthy snacks around, but don't beat yourself up for the occasional lazy day and balls and balls of ice cream or noodles. If the news and social media are creating stress, try putting your phone in airplane mode, even for short periods of time. Here's what I like: schedule video study groups and social time. Texting in real time provides some connection, but seeing the face of a friend or classmate can actively decrease your sense of isolation. Do whatever you can to make your workspace as soothing as possible. Ayan, oh. Nauso na ngayon, di ba, yung mga plantitos and plantitas. So, make your place a better place to work. Huh? Um, Come up with a hobby that could help you enhance your life at home. Okay? A daily walk outside can be refreshing. Keep healthy snacks around, but don't beat yourself. Okay? Take note of that. And that's it. So, I hope that you learned something from what I have shared with you. And good luck, everyone. Maraming salamat po. And that ends my session for today.
Pataas na ng pataas ang level ng kaalaman natin mga Pinoy pagdating sa teknolohiya. At ngayon, level up na raw tayo pagdating sa robotics. At sa katunayan nga, marami ng pampublikong paaralan sa bansang nagtuturo ng paggawa ng mga robot sa mga estudyante. Narito ang special report. Sa bilis ng pag-usad ng teknolohiya sa panahon ngayon, hindi na nga bago ang konsepto ng mga robot. Ito ay mga makinang tumutulong sa pang-araw-araw na gawain ng mga tao. Pero paano kung ang robot mukha na ring tao?
It's weird. Weird and creepy.
Parang kasi yung kulang pa rin sa interaction.
Oo, okay lang kasi pinapakita on how creative and innovative yung mga tao ngayon.
Iba pa rin pinagagawa ng totoong tao compare sa humanoid ko na mga ganyan.
Tingin mo mas maganda ka dito?
Oo naman po, sus.
Noong nakaraang buwan lang, ibinida sa Japan itong dalawang humanoid robots na sina Otonoroid at Kodomoroid na dinisenyo para maging museum guides. Mula sa buhok, mata, pati na nga balat, wangis sa totoong tao.
Mas efficient sila at I would say more accurate. But syempre, I would always say there's still always human element behind the robot kasi ang tao po ang nagpo-program kung anong dapat gagawin ng robot.
Dito sa Pilipinas, wala pang humanoid na nalilikha na tulad sa Japan. Pero kung may museum guide humanoid ang Japan, dito naman sa Claret School sa Quezon City, may tour guide robot. Talagang it's more fun in the Philippines dahil ang robot na si Apo, program para ikwento ang kasaysayan ng Banawe Rice Terraces.
Nandito po tayo ngayon sa Banawe Rice Terraces sa Ifugao. Isa ito sa pinakamaganda at pinakaimportanteng tanawin sa ating bansa.
Nakakagalaw rin ito at nakapagbibigay pa ng mga leaflets sa mga bisita.
Apo is an interactive robot that teaches and educates people around the terraces because it's our entry in the World Robotics Olympiad.
Ang mas nakamamangha pa, imbensyon ito ng mga estudyanteng edad 15 hanggang 16 na taon.
Yung ginamit po namin technology, Lego NXT po. Tapos gumamit po kami ng programming language po na tinatawag pong NXTG, tapos minsan po C++.
Ang robotics class ay isang klase na tumutulong sa pag-enhance ng kanilang mathematics, engineering, computer science. So pinagsama-sama yon.
Pride of Bukawi, Bulacan naman, itong si Hero, ang robot teaching assistant. Bukod sa built-in sensors nito, pwede na ito mag-lecture at magbigay ng quiz sa mga estudyante. At para hindi boring ang klase, may mga dancing dolls ito para i-promote ang mga piyesta sa Pilipinas.
Yung technology po, it's something na magagamit po ng bawat kabataan para po makapag-contribute po sa productivity ng bansa natin. Kumbaga, kung magkakaroon po sila ng interest and kung magiging maganda po yung initial reaction nila or yung magiging paraan po ng pagtanggap nila sa technology.
Ayon sa founder ng Philippine Robotics Academy, malaki raw talaga ang potensyal ng pag-aaral ng robotics sa mga eskwelahan. Noong nakaraang taon, nakasungkit ng 2 silver awards sa Pilipinas sa World Robotics Olympiad.
Ang pinaka-main skill na nakukuha ng bata is creative critical thinking. Ito po yung paghanap ng solusyon sa mga problema.
Katunayan, halos 4 na lang eskwelahan na ang may robotics class sa Pilipinas. 40% sa mga klase ito nasa public schools. Ang problema, may kamahalan na pag-aaral ng robotics, kaya panawagan ng PRA sa gobyerno.
Iniengganyo po namin ang mga local government units na mag-set aside ng budget para lang dun po sa kits na ginagamit ng bata. Kasi po, we're trying to level the playing field.
Kailangan din daw ng mga materyales at mas malawak na mga silid-aralan.
Isa sa mga challenges siguro ay yung kakulangan ng mas malaki-laking classroom. Kasi ito, medyo mas kailangan mo yung space para yung mga bata ay makapaggawa at pati na rin yung lugar kung saan pwedeng patakbuhin yung mga robot.
Patunay ang mga makabagong imbensyon gaya ng humanoid at robot sa walang hanggang posibilidad ng teknolohiya. At kung bibigyan lang sana ng pansin ang mga batang inventor gaya nila, ang Pilipinas kayang-kayang makipagsabayan at umangat sa mga likha ng dayuhan.
Ayan. Galing, di ba? Ayun,
Alright.
Sir Rox, thank you for your
That was,
presentation.
yes, Clarification of Quezon City. Yes, galing.
Mm-mm. Medyo
Alright.
guilty ako dun sa presentation
Sige,
ni Sir
Miss Jen.
Rox. Parang dun ako
Parang
nag-exempt. Ano ba?
pinanganak ka, ganun.
Oo, sir, sabi ko, was I busy or was I productive? So I was trying, so yun yung minsan nakakalimutan nating marinig, no, from presentations na akala mo lang productive ka pero busy ka lang, wala ka wala po produce. Okay. And then tama ngayon no nasa ano tayo pandemic and medyo stressful on the part of the teachers kasi sabi nga ni Sir Rox, our principal wants result. Pero may karugtong yun Sir Rox eh. The principals and the admins wants results and they want them now. Now na as in yung kahit alas 10 ng gabi. Sabi niya, submit your report. Sabi ko, nung last time I received the same thing at 1 o'clock in the morning asking me to submit something. Are you sure ngayon na 1 o'clock? Nagkataon lang siguro nakita na live ka, online ka, no? And yung ice cream, yun yung mga guilty ako, yung bowls and bowls of ice cream. Parang nakakakalma yung ice cream. Tsaka noodles. Ayan. So, thank you for the tips, Sir Rox.
Sa
And
viewers
another
natin,
thing from
lang
FB.
may renovation nangyayari sa bahay ni
May
Rox.
Minecraft.
Kaya, may Minecraft
Live
building.
May
Minecraft.
nagma-Minecraft.
May nagma-Minecraft kaya maraming construction.
Yes, at dahil po sa
Nagpapa-expand ng bahay.
dahil nga po sa background noise kanina, no? Bago natin makalimutan, no, let us congratulate Philippine Media for
Thank you.
winning, no, given by Microsoft Global for the Minecraft education. Ayun na yung kanina yung background,
Yay.
Minecraft education.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Salamat
Yung
sa
mga may ongoing Minecraft, di ba?
Pero tapos
event.
na elimination,
So, yan.
finals
First
na.
natin later.
And then, I just want to say thank you kasi 11 countries po ang members ng Asia Pacific Microsoft Education and we were chosen as one of the countries best in Minecraft Education edition. Kasama po ang Korea, yung isang global training partner ng Korea. And napakahirap po maging global training partner ng Microsoft. There are only, I believe, 32 for now. 32 lang po na partners ang Microsoft Education for APAC. Okay, thank you, Sir Rox. Please stay. Let's call in our next guest because later we can ask questions to our two panelists for today before we ask Miss Jen to also share on socio emotional impact. Okay, so our next guest is I would say she has brought so much accolades and victories for the Philippines ever since she has been part of the Dr. Yangas College's robotics team and of course eventually the Philippine robotics team. I really am so proud of her because she has encouraged a lot of girls to join the robotics program. And in fact, she has even won the 10 outstanding students of the Philippines because of this, because she is part of the robotics program. So now I'd like to introduce to you the Science Research Specialist 2 of the Science Education Institute Department of Science and Technology, Ms. Nerissa Nicolas.
Uh, Good morning, everyone. I am Nerissa, a graduate from Dr. Young's Colleges Incorporated, and I was tasked to share a journey to success through robotics, or as I would like to call it, a robot story. Be warned though, as this is not about a boy who got caught up in extraterrestrial battle uh, against transforming robots or about boxing humanoids who hailed an underdog as their boxing champion. This is my story. So let me start with this picture. This is my family. Uh, my father, uh, 10 sila na magkakapatid and none of them graduated in college. Si tatay ay hanggang first year, first sem lang in college. And at 21, nagtrabaho na siya and hindi na siya ulit nakapag-aral. This is my mother. Siya naman ay graduate ng vocational course, pero hindi niya yun in-apply. Siya ay naging mananahe, yung nagbuborda. Then, my older brother, 3 years older than me, and my younger sister. Growing up, I idolized my brother kasi kung may magaling talaga, siya yun. Ah, kita niyo 'to, kinder picture niya, graduation ng kinder and hindi ako pumayag na hindi ako kasama. Kasi idol ko siya. Kung ano yung nagagawa niya, gusto ko nagagawa ko din. And as any older siblings would do, talagang nag-set siya ng malalaking footprints, ng paths para sa aming mga kapatid niya to follow. And dahil doon, he graduated as the valedictorian ng elementary school and he was offered a full scholarship in a private school, which is in Dr. Young's Colleges. So ako, syempre, idol ko si Kuya. Gusto ko ako din. Gusto ko mag-graduate din ako ng valedictorian at makapag-aral sa private school. So kailangan kong ring maging valedictorian kasi coming from a indigent family, hindi talaga namin ma-afford na magpaaral sa private school. So the scholarship is only my way to go to a private school in high school. So nag-aral ako mabuti and luckily yun, na-offeran din ako ng full scholarship in DYCI. Then pagdating sa DYCI, syempre yung kuya ko, ano siya, fourth year high school na siya when I was in first year. And my first year in high school was also the first year that DYCI introduced robotics. So, si kuya, syempre nag-excel siya sa mga ginagawa niya. And ako, gusto ko din na mag-excel doon, pero hindi kasi ako kasing galing niya. So kung siya, kapag lumalaban siya ay nag-champion siya, ako nananalo pero hindi yung champion. So siguro nagsa-second place, yung ganun lang. So I'm always in his shadow. Pero so yun, I tried to follow him, to copy him kung ano yung mga ginagawa niya. Then, when I was in third year, yun yung second time na magko-compete yung DYCI sa robotics. I was lucky to be invited to be one of the members of the team. Kasi nung previous year, nung first time na lumaban yung DYCI, they observed that when presenting your invention in a competition, hindi enough na dapat technically advanced lang yung robot mo, kailangan din ma-present mo siya ng maayos. And di naman ako magaling na presenter, di rin ako magaling na English speaker, but because of my brother, kasi nga gumawa siya ng pangalan niya, so the management, kilala nila ako as his sister. So sabi nila, sige, subukan natin yung kapatid niya. So I was invited to be one of the members. And ako, ang drive ko lang when I started robotics ay gusto ko lang na magkaroon ng avenue for myself to separate myself from my family, from the shadow of my brother. So this is something that he was not able to try kasi wala pang robotics ng panahon niya. So sige sasali ako, and that changes everything. So this was my teammates, Renzel, Micah, Angel, and Lemuel. Lemuel, by the way, is my boyfriend now, but that is a different story. And during the training, kasi nga, this is just the second time that we will join. So we clearly lack the experience uh, to win the competition. So what we lack in experience, we compensate with hard work. So ang competition ay September, May pa lang nagtitraining na kami na gumawa ng robots. The theme for that year was artist robot. So uh, that time, dahil nga second year pa lang ng school to join, wala pa kaming robotics laboratory. Nasa library lang kami. Binigyan lang kami ng small spot. Then, nilatag lahat ng materials doon. Then, doon kami sa floor gumagawa. Then these are our inventions then. Ang liliit, 'di ba? So we have a pianist robot under representing si Cecily Cad. We have a dancing robot, si Michael Jackson, that kayang mag-moonwalk. We also have a singer robot, Lea Solonga, an internationally Broadway singer, renowned Filipino Broadway singer. Then two dancers to represent Billy Crawford and Appleby. Our idea then was to create robots representing Filipino artists that are known worldwide. So with these robots, we competed in Philippine Robotics Olympiad. Then we were on September 25, 2009, so yesterday was our anniversary, we, as underdogs in robotics competition, became the national level champion and the official Philippine delegate in the World Robot Olympiad. So this time, syempre, this is just the second year that our school participated, and we were hailed as champions. So ang daming naysayers na nagsasabi na, uy, nakachamba. Parang may nagsabi pa na, imagine a school from Bulacan, isang probinsya, won the Philippine Robotics Olympiad. So kami as members, syempre, hindi, narinig namin yon, but we turned them into inspiration. Gusto namin na patunayan sa kanila na kahit underdog kami, kaya naming manalo. So what followed then was 2 months of grueling preparations, for it was the first time for our school to send students that will not only represent our school but the whole Philippines. Yung ginawa namin robot na para sa amin ay perfect na in-improve pa namin. So what we did was this was our actual presentation for the WRO. So nagdagdag kami ng painter robot and pianist robot. Tapos gumawa kami ng parang modernized na concert. So automatic na nag-open yung curtain, tapos tumataas yung upuan. So pinackage namin yung presentation into a concert. Pero it was obvious that we are against professionals. Pagdating namin doon, di namin alam, palakihan pala ng robot ang labanan. So, this is the entry of Japan. Isang robot lang siya pero malaki. Yung sa amin, ganyan lang siya kalaki. And I'm not sure about the country that presented this robot, pero si Michael Jackson na humanoid. Meron kaming Michael Jackson pero maliit lang. Sila, nagbitbit sila ng humanoid. So, disheartening, pero pumunta kami doon not just to go there. Pumunta kami doon to win, to represent our country. So, on November 6, despite our efforts, we competed and we landed the 9th place. So, nakita na namin kung paano yung competition, and napansin namin kung ano yung weaknesses nung ginawa namin. So we know where we can improve. So Ako personally, I believe na kung alam lang namin na ganito pala yung competition, we have a chance of winning. Taas mangarap, 'di ba? So I said, immediately after returning from Korea, sabi ko to the school administrators, "Sir, for next year, magcha-champion po tayo sa world." So, taas mangarap, 'di ba? Hindi ko na, pinangarap na makarating lang basta sa world. Ang gusto ko mag-champion sa world because I believe that we can, kaya namin. So, ako na lang kasi yung matitirang member. Yung mga previous team members ay, ga-graduate na ng high school. So, ako as the magfo-4th year pa lang, gusto ko na magbalik kahit papaano sa school kasi sobrang support yung ginawa nila sa'min nung sa, dun sa laban namin sa PRO then in WRO. So imagine, binibigyan kami ng dinner every time na nagte-training kami and hinahatid kami isa-isa pauwi. So they really go beyond their ano po, responsibility sa amin as their students. Kaya gusto ko na magbalik, mag-give back sa kanila. And, siyempre though nakaka-dishearten na hindi kami nanalo, and it's a very good reason for us to be insecure na parang sabihin namin na, "Teka, kaya ba talaga natin na manalo?" Kasi kalaban natin dito hindi lang basta-bastang mga, kalaban natin ng Japan, kalaban natin ng China, kalaban natin ng Russia. So, kaya ba natin makipag-compete dun? But we believe that there are so many battles worth fighting for, and the insecure battles that rages in our mind is not one of them. Kaya natin kasi alam natin na magagawa natin. So, after coming back to from Korea, we immediately planned for our presentation for the team that will compose the PRO team for 2010. So it was composed of Agel, Alex, Elaine, and myself. Si Alex at this time ay magsa-second year in high school pa lang, and Agel, Elaine, and I are in our graduating year. So this is at this time, this will be the last time that we will be given a chance to compete in PRO, and if we were lucky to represent the Philippines again in WRO. So kailangan talaga namin ibigay ang lahat. And dahil na rin siguro sa drive ng bawat members, the management really gave their all. Talaga even the coaches, the school administrators, talagang they geared up for and prepare for our ambitious but realistic run for the 2010 World Championship Trophy. So the theme for this year was Robot Promotes Tourism. So equipped with our experiences and lessons learned from the previous competitions and our stint in Korea, I, together with my team, spent the whole summer developing new, bigger, and technically designed robots. So, in the picture is Pinoy, our pride and joy, our baby. So, Pinoy is a 3.5 feet humanoid that speaks four different languages and acts as the tourist guide. Kasi nga robots promote tourism. So aside from Pinoy, we have small robots representing the different parang festivals in Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. So on September 10, 2010, we reached the first half of our goal, which is to go back to the stage of World Robot Olympiad in a big way kasi we repeat as the national champion for the Philippine Robotics Olympiad. So, sabi ni Sir Michael, our principal din, sabi niya, "This is more than enough. Congratulations, hindi na kayo nakachamba." To which I said, "Sir, hindi pa po. Gold pa po sa World Robot Olympiad." Kasi that is the goal. Winning in PRO is never, it's a big achievement, but it's just a stepping stone towards what we really target. Ang gusto namin ay mag-champion sa World Robot Olympiad. So, syempre nakakatakot na ganun kataas yung pangarap, pero nakikita mo kasi yung effort, not just effort ng teammates mo, but yung effort ng coaches, ng school na binibigay yung lahat ng kailangan mo and more than pa sa kailangan mo. So, the pressure is indeed building up, especially as the World Robot Olympiad will be hosted in the Philippines. So, the expectations are high, the responsibility to bring honor and pride to the country was of utmost importance. Then, on November 7, 2010, by the way, ito yung motivate sa amin. So, nothing can stop the man with the right mental attitude from achieving his goal, and nothing on earth can help the man with the wrong mental attitude. So, gaya nga ng sinabi ni Sir Rox kanina, isipin mo yung goal mo and gawin mo yung magagawa mo para ma-achieve mo yun. So, sinet talaga namin sa utak namin even before the start of the school year na World Championship yung target namin. So, ginawa namin ng lahat na aming makakaya para ma-attain namin yon. And on November 7, 2010, the dream finally became a reality. So, the Philippines, through our team, won the gold in the open category for junior high school division, overcoming intricate and complex invention from China, which bagged the second place. So, okay na-achieve na yung goal. And what happens next were countless opportunities to inspire people as the team were constantly interviewed for TV shows, featured in newspaper articles, and were conducting mall and school tours. Uh, Actually, the highlight was we were even invited to pay a courtesy call to the president, Benigno Aquino. Then, I graduated. So, tapos na. Tapos na sa isip ko noon, tapos na yung stint ko sa robotics. So, ano nang gagawin ko? And before enrolling in college, Sir Beryl, the coach of the DYCI robotics team, approached me and said na if okay lang ba sa akin na mag-mentor, they need my help to mentor the high school team and the grade school team. So, ako siyempre, hindi mo kasi bigla-biglang matatakasan yung love mo sa robotics and sobrang binago ng robotics yung buhay ko. So, siyempre, I immediately said yes. So, when I was in first year, I was the mentor of the high school team. Then in my second year, the management decided that I can function better if I will be the assistant coach for the grade school team. So on my second year in college, I became the assistant coach for the grade school team, and I helped them win the second place in Philippine Robotics Olympiad. That made them the representative of the Philippines sa World Robot Olympiad, but we did not place sa WRO. Then, when I was in third year in college, something unexpected happened. Kasi nagkaroon for the first time ng college level na robotics competition. So, ito na naman. I was fortunate enough to be given again the chance to fight for my way to represent for the Philippines once again in the robotics stage. So, nung third year high school ako, I was still the assistant coach for the grade school where I helped them be the champions for the PRO and won the second place in WRO. But my team also in the college level team, we won the third place for the first ever college level robotics competition. Kami yung naging official na representative ng Philippines kasi nga dahil first time pa lang na magkakaroon ng college level, so walang PRO for the college level, parang naging invitational siya. So, alam ko na ulit kung paano yung college level competition. Ganun pala kapag sa regular category. So, ito na naman ako. Nangarap na naman na, teka, kaya nating mag-champion dito ah. So, after going back from Indonesia, so, sige, mag-prepare tayo. Kailangan nating mag-champion kasi kaya nating mag-champion sa world. But I have to give something up kasi dahil magpo fourth year college na ako, parang hindi ko naman kaya kasi gusto kong mag-champion dito sa college level. Parang hindi ko naman kakayanin na kung mag-assistant coach pa ako sa grade school. So I talked to Sir Beryl and asked him if it will be possible for me not to be the assistant coach for the grade school. Kasi aside from robotics and aside from my schooling, I was also elected as the president of our college, yung College of Computer Studies. So may iba pa akong ginagawa aside dito. And luckily, he agreed. So for my fourth year in college, I was only a participant for the college level competition. So for the second time ng college level robotics, nagkaroon ng PRO na, but walang nag-compete, kami lang. So by default, we won the PRO. And this picture is really memorable because this is the picture that Dr. Bio and I were together. So this is Dr. Giuseppe Bio, the director of the Science Education Institute ng DOST. So mamaya ipapakilala ko pa sa inyo si Dr. Bio. But this is the first time that nagkakilala kami. So after gaining the chance to again represent the Philippines for the fourth time, this time in Sochi, Russia. Pumunta kami doon and um, during pag kasi nagko-compete ka sa WRO, hindi lang siya basta competition. May days din na nagpe-prepare, set up niyo yung booth niyo doon or magte-test kayo ng robot and mayroon ding tour. So during the tour, we got the chance to talk to Dr. Bio and na-mention niya na may scholarship opportunity sa DOST. So at that time kasi focused ako sa goal ko which is winning. Kaya medyo pumasok lang siya sa tenga ko tapos lumabas ulit sa kabila. Pero nandun na yung seed sa utak ko. So may scholarship program ang DOST. Then when we were in Sochi, Russia, something unexpected sa akin unexpected happened kasi sa regular category kasi may set na dimension lang dapat yung robot mo. And my teammates, they did not inform me na yung robot pala namin ay malaki yung size. Malaki lang siya ng half pushing, sobrang liit lang, pero hindi siya nasumunod sa size. So during the preparation stage for the competition, habang nagte-test kami ng robot, it is quite obvious na meron talaga kaming chance na mag-world champion kasi kami lang nakakuha ng mataas na points. Pero nung mismo araw na nung competition, nung sinusukat na yung robot, nakita na malaki yung robot namin. So we have no choice but to reassemble the robot para mag-comply siya dun sa size. And syempre, dahil ginalaw namin yung base ng robot, magbabago yung response niya sa program. So we also have to reprogram. Mind you, it was during the competition. So time lang siya. Meron lang specific time na binibigay. So sobrang nakakatakot pero hindi kami na-deter. We stick to our goal and luckily we were able to bag the third place once again for the college level robotics. Then that's the final competition that I'd ever had in robotics. I graduated in college, so wala na. Hindi ko na alam kung ano yung next na gagawin ko. Luckily, before the graduation, the school administrators encouraged me to submit my portfolio for the the search for the 10 outstanding students of the Philippines. Yung TOSP kasi, hindi ka makapag-prepare doon unless alam mo na siya beforehand. And my year was just the second year na nagpadala yung school namin ng application or ng submission para sa search ng TOSP. So, sa TOSP kasi, kailangan mong i-judge ka nila based on your academic excellence, leadership, and social responsibility profile for your whole college year. So from first year to fourth year. Then I build my portfolio around my experience with robotics. yun yung hinighlight ko na being a member, then later being the assistant coach. So, ayun. Then, pero syempre, hindi naman ako umaasa na matatanggap ako dun. So, I have to think of things that I can do kasi graduate na ako. Graduate na ako ng college. So, while waiting, naalala ko yung scholarship ng DOST. So, I contacted Dr. Bio. Nag-email ako sa kanya. Sabi ko, kasi during our time in Sochi, nagbigay siya ng business card. So, I emailed her. Sabi ko, this is Nerissa from DOST SEI. We were together in Sochi, Russia. So, nabanggit niyo po na may scholarship, so I'm interested to apply. Ganyan, yung medyo ano lang, yung makapal na mukhang reply, email kasi syempre medyo ignorante pa, probinsyana. So, di ko alam na pag director ka ng DOST-SE ay sobrang taas na position nun. So, ayun, then she replied, sabi niya tapos na raw yung application procedure for the graduate level scholarship, but meron silang opening, job opening. So, kung interested daw ba ako na mag-apply. So, hindi ako kagad nag-reply kasi di ko alam kung magtatrabaho na ba ako. But while that is happening, nakatanggap na ako ng call from the TOSP Region 3. So, ang sabi nila, isa ako sa 30 finalists for Region 3 TOSP. So, nagkaroon ulit ako ng bagong gagawin. Sabi ko, I have to represent well yung school. Wala na akong ibang pwedeng preparations na gawin kasi nga, it was your accomplishments ng first year to fourth year college. So, kailangan ko lang i-present ng maayos yung sarili ko. And fortunately for me, the TOSP team recognized my works, my efforts for 4 years, and I was recognized as one of the 10 outstanding students for Region 3. So, ang next step ay magpe-prepare ka ng portfolio mo to submit for the national search. So, nationwide na. Then, that was when I contacted Dr. Bio again. So, sabi ko, ma'am, pwede po bang mag-set ng meeting para po pag-usapan yung job offer? Yun. So, pumunta ako for the first time in Bicutan, Taguig City, kasama yung kapatid ko kasi nga, hindi naman ako lumabas ng Bulacan, ng Bukawi. Lumalabas lang ako to compete, yung pumupunta sa ibang bansa, yun lang. Pero, first time kong pumunta ng Bicutan. And, sabi ko pa dito, sabi ko pa kay ma'am na, ma'am, if ever that I will be accepted, hindi po ako immediately makapag-start because I'm waiting for the result of the national TOSP. So, nakakahiya. Pero, nangyari siya talaga. Then, after this meeting, I received, pag-uwi ko sa Bulacan, si Dr. Bio pala ay may direct contact with Sir Michael. So, nag-contact agad si Dr. Bio kay Sir Michael kasi nga sabi ko, pag-iisipan ko pa yung yung job offer. Sabi ni Sir Michael, Nerissa, kung ako yon yung inofera ni Dr. Bio, there and then magko-contract signing kami. Sabi niya, it doesn't matter kung ano yung magiging job mo, first job mo, or kung gaano kalaki yung salary, what's important is you find a good mentor para sa iyo. And Dr. Bio is really an amazing person. Sobrang galing ni Dr. Bio and very, very good mentor. So, sabi ko po, sige po. Mag-a-uproot po ako, pupunta po akong Bikutan para magtrabaho. Then, before I started working, I got the call from TOSP that I was one of the 30 finalists for the nationwide search. So, hindi ko naman na inaasahan na mananalo ko kasi I am against students from top schools. So, nandiyan na yung taga Ateneo, taga De La Salle, taga Mindanao State University, taga Silliman University. So, top schools talaga and their top students magko-convene para sa targets for us to be future leaders. Yan. And I was very fortunate to be awarded as one of the 10 outstanding students of the Philippines. So, after that, I immediately started working under Dr. Giuseppe Dio. So this is our first photo with me being her empleyado. Yan. So if I can summarize my story, meron ng tatlong bagay na gusto kong i-impart sa inyo. Una ay mangarap ka, gaya ng sinabi ni Sir Rox. Pero syempre dapat hindi siya matapos sa basta pangarap lang. Kailangan mong gumawa ng steps para ma-achieve mo yung dream na yun. Kailangan mo magsakripisyo, kailangan mo pagtuunan ng pansin, kailangan mong bigyan ng oras, kailangan mo mag-exert ng effort. And it's okay if meron kang mga pangarap na hindi ma-achieve. Kagaya nung goal namin na for the second time ay mag-world champion, it's okay na hindi mo siya ma-achieve as long as in the process, in your failure, you learn something. And nagawa mo na magkaroon ng better version ng sarili mo. So that is the second point, to continuously improve yourself. Dapat hindi ka mag-settle sa kung ano na yung na-achieve mo or sa kung ano yung alam mo na limitation mo. Kailangan you continuously improve on your weaknesses. Kailangan patuloy ka na nag-aaral, patuloy mong ini-enhance yung kakayanan mo. Then, finally, you give something back. Kasi, as my story, robotics talaga and the DYCI ang dahilan kung nasaan ako ngayon. Kung ano yung trabaho ko ngayon, kung sino yung mga kakilala ko ngayon, kung ano yung mga na-achieve ko. It's because of FELTA and DYCI. So when I was approached by the school to be the mentors when I was about to start my college, di na ako nag-hesitate to help them. And imagine kung hindi ako naging mentor ng high school team, hindi ako mag-aaral sa Yanga, hindi ko ma-experience yung college level robotics at hindi ko ma-experience yung TOSP, hindi ako makapunta ng Russia, hindi ko mamimit si Dr. Bio, hindi ko alam kung nasan ako ngayon. So, give something back kasi hindi mo alam yung return sa'yo nung bibigay mo ay sobra-sobra pa, mas malaki pa. And now, I'm focusing on giving something back to my family. My older brother, will take his medical board exam this November. And my younger sister is now in her third year in business administration. Kaming tatlong magkakapatid, iba-ibang fields yung pinuntahan namin. And sobrang laki ng sakripisyo nila and tulong nila para sa akin, sa aming magkakapatid. So, it's just right for us to use this time to give something back to them. So, everyone, that is for now the end of my robot story. Salamat po.
Wow, very inspiring indeed. And actually, I was a judge for the 10 Outstanding Students of the Philippines a few years back, actually around 3 times. And you just competed with thousands of other students. It's so difficult because before, you know that, you get shortlisted on the regional level and then you get shortlisted as a course because there are only 10 of you in the whole Philippines. And we never exceeded more than 10. So talagang, and being, I would say, ako kasi, I always believed in you, Nerissa. Well, Isay now, but I still call you Nerissa because I saw how driven you are. Yun nga, that's why we're talking about socio emotional. You actually fuel a lot of ambition and goals to your fellow students when you were still in DYCI, and then also your teammates because I've seen you in action. Yung pinagdaanan natin sa Russia, you know that it was really a test of strength and a test also of your personal strength and also faith. And yun. And may secret din ako. Actually, kasi roommate ko si Dr. Bio sa Russia. Ako rin nagbulong. Sabi ko, ako, hindi ko nagmamalaki, pero ako nagsabi kay Dr. Bio, Ma'am, si Nerissa po, siya po ang kunin yung actually scholar. Tapos sabi niya, parang mag-apply siya. Sabi ko, opo, pipilitin po namin. Kasi nga, parang ayaw mo pa noon, hindi ka pa sure. So, yun yung story niyan. But I'm so glad that nagkaroon ng opening because for the audience, no, for our viewers, Dr. Josette Bio is one of the few female scientists in the Philippines. In fact, there is a planet named after her, di ba? So,
Yes, Planet
talagang
Bio.
such an honor and privilege for Nerissa to be part of her team in the Science Education Institute, Department of Science and Technology. So let's now call back also Rox to join us. Miss Jen, so we have questions on the floor.
Parang nawala si Sir Rox pero ano,
Oh,
yung sa kay Isay.
okay.
Okay, so yung I like how she presented the fallback na like for competitions talaga naman there can never be like 10 first placers, no? So kailangan di yun yung gusto ko sa competition when my kids started 12th place and then after a year it went up 10th place and then sabi ng mga bata, "Oh, we're going up two places every year." So on the third year, we're expecting okay, 8th place kasi yung trend ay going up the ladder by twos. But then that was the time when yeah, that was the time with the team, the Yanga team where we got the third placer. And then marami talagang ano, sacrifices you need to you just have to build the team as you're building individual students as you are building the team kasi nga hindi lahat sabi nga ni Risa, I'm not a good speaker but then she will be forced to speak. So
Totoo po.
yung wala kang choice when you present a project you have to speak otherwise hindi mo ma-defend yung project mo. But then later I will share how do teams succeed in looking at other teams. Like sabi ko nga last week with Coach Beryl, their team motivated us to strive better kasi parang you get to compare yourself. It's not about putting down yourself, it's about knowing where you are in comparison with other people. So yun yung ating mamaya. Excited much, Ketch.
Nawala si Sir. But I also want to add that one thing that I have heard many times that Nerissa has mentioned or Isai has mentioned is giving back. And I think this is really a values, no, part of our character that we have to instill in our students that they have to give back. Not they have to, but an option for them is really to give back. And if we instill these values to them, look at we have more Nerisas in the making, right? Because it's really about sharing, ayan na si Rox, it's really about sharing your talent. She gave back as another mentor, as another teacher in the DYCI. And look where DYCI is now. Last year, Nerissa, all the competitions that Dr. Yang has participated in the US, in Turkey, in Denmark, and the last one was in Hungary. All back to back, all back to back to back to back. Lahat panalo, lahat gold. Imagine that. Lahat championship. So I think that you have really sowed a seed in Dr. Yangas, and remember, you will never be forgotten because dapat nga palagyan ka ng monumento. Yes. Yeah. So thank you so much. And now we have Sir Rox. We have questions for Sir Rox on time management. Miss Jen, what?
I have another funny story. It's actually it's Nerissa's team on booth number I think it's 12. Then ako yung 11 and then Sir Roxy yung 10. So I'm in between them. And the project was that was the project when Nerissa mentioned about the robots promoting culture on the different islands. Yun yung and then Sir Rox was doing the animals na meron silang malaking eagle, meron silang Philippine cobra. Sir Rox, you remember that you have the literal
Yeah.
the battle where you are sabi. And then sabi nga ni Neri, when you look at that, when you were working in your area, parang feeling mo ang ganda na ng project mo, ang laki na ng project mo. When you go out to the actual competition area, yung robot mo yung pinakamaliit, yun yung pinakamasaklap na mangyayari sa'yo kasi ang ganda ng display ni Sir Rox, may malaking wing yung ano niya, eh, yung eagle sa gilid. Tapos meron siyang tarsier na umiikot yung ano head, 'di ba, Sir Rox? And then Neri has the giant booth with the 3 layers. Sabi ko, ay, kung hindi ka marunong magpunta sa hardware, you cannot even put lights on. So really, it's evolving within the competition. Yun talaga your role. 'Di ba, si Sir Rox, tsaka si Neria, inspired my team,
I have
socially.
a question with Sir Rox. Okay, so all right, because you mentioned that we really need to get our administrators on board. For many years, kaya alam ko to because Claret was one of the pioneer schools. For many years, the priests, mga pari ng Claretian priests have not supported the robotics program. What happened? What changed in Claret that so we can also share with some schools na hindi sila sinusuporta ng mga administrators nila. I know that it was the parents who were really pushing the boys to participate. At sila yung gumagastos, sila yung nag-shuttle. And then kahit na nanalo kayo, alam ko na hindi man lang bisita daw yung mga pare. And you know which parents I'm pertaining to. So what was the change agent? Who is the change agent in Claret that so that we
Yeah.
can share with others? Yeah.
Siguro ang kailangan lang talaga dyan, persistence, no? So, just, kasi kami, compared to other sports, no? Napakalaki talaga ng budget na kakailanganin. And our school is known for uh, soccer and
Football.
basketball. Pero yung robotics at that time was relatively new. And then when we join competitions, it requires a lot of expenses. So sa una kasi medyo mahirap talaga kaming makakuha ng budget, but unti-unti na-realize nila na bakit kaya maraming mga bata na gustong sumali. So nakita nila na may interest yung mga bata sa science and technology and robotics, no? So doon ngayon na nag-iba na yung pananaw nila, no? And of course, may mga administrators na talagang nakuha namin yung suporta, no? And without this support, hindi kami tulad nga ng isang eagle, hindi kami makakalipad, no? And there are so many administrators that I would like to thank, no? Syempre yung simulan natin sa mga principals, no? And si Sir Bonnie, si Miss Racer Lee, saka yung mga past administrators. Pero meron akong isang special talaga na mention, etong isang pari na who's already in his 80s, no? So bumalik siya sa school. Actually, siya yung nagtayo ng Claret School sa Quezon City, no? Pero siguro calling niya rin talaga yung education, si Father Santiago. So he came back to Claret School. And then, nung manalo kami, talagang nung sinabi ko, Father, pupunta kami sa Costa Rica, which is halfway around the world, At yung pamasahe pa lang, papunta doon, talagang sobrang laki na talagang siguro kahit yung ibang eskwelahan talagang magugulat, no? Pero siya, iba yung dating niya eh. Yung sinabi niya, tinawag niya yung mga boys, tinawag niya yung mga parents. Tapos, ang una niyang tanong sa mga parents, how much can you contribute? Sabi nung isang nanay, Father, mamatay lang nung asawa ko. So wala akong maibibigay kung hindi ganitong napakaliit na amount ng yung binanggit niya, no? So, siguro para na cue din yung ibang parents, Father, ano rin kami, hikaws din kami sa buhay. So, hindi lahat sila ay may ready-made na, may bangko na napakalaking halaga. But uh, with that said, si Father sabi niya, ako nang bahala kung ano yung kulang. So talagang napatalon yung mga parents. So nung marinig yon, talagang in that room it was filled with so much joy. At si Father ang gumawa ng paraan, siya ang naghanap ng pondo kung paano kami makakakuha ng pamasahe, no? And magmula noon, nang dahil doon, lalo kaming na-inspire, lalo kaming na-motivate na lalo naming gandahan yung aming mga gagawing pang mga robots, no? At true enough, sunod-sunod na yung panalo namin. Kung hindi nga lang nagka-COVID, sana last May, no?
May
Nakapunta ka
nasa Greece tayo.
Oo, no? Kasi nanalo yung aking mga ticking. At so hinayang na hinayang yung mga bata.
Dapat nga
pati na rin yung nag-second at nag-third. Yung isa naman yung Japan, ganun din. Na-COVID din. So talagang alam niya si Father, sabi niya, susuportahan ko kayo. Pero isa lang ang dapat niyong sabihin sa akin, kaya niyo ba alagaan yung mga bata? Kasi nga may COVID, So, kaya, hindi mo namin pinilit, no? Pero yun talaga ang nagbigay ng inspirasyon. At dahil sunod-sunod na ang naging panalo ng mga bata.
Sige. So, ang moral of the story talaga na sinasabi ni Rox, na isagot is really to have your principal, tama, your school administrators to support you, And as Miss Jan also has said, you have to give outputs. You have to give what are the results of the program. Hindi lang laro-laro, hindi lang biyahe-biyahe, di ba? Oo. So, you have to, as I said, multiply all Nerisas in your school. Kasi she is the epitome of a product of the robotics program. And she is also giving back to the Philippines and to their school. Okay, so I have another question, Sir Wax, Miss Jen.
May I add?
Okay, you have any last words?
Sir Wax. Sir Rox.
Isang important factor din ay yung mismong pananaw ng coach, Kasi ang training, ang practice tulad niyan, ang bayad ako is only once a week. But we meet every day. Okay? So yung extra hours na yun na yung labor of love na tinatawag, na it's beyond sweldo no? It's more on yung tama nga sabi ni Risa, what you can give back to the community, no? Kasi nakarating ka sa ibang bansa, di ba? All expenses paid. So anong pwede mong gawin on your own, no? What little way can you give back to the community? So yun ang naisip ko na I will train more students to become champions, no? So hindi na baling umuwi kami ng alas 9 ng gabi, umuwi kami ng alas 12 ng gabi, no? Pagdating ako ng bahay, ang sumasalubong na lang sa akin aso, no? Kasi tulog na yung mga tao doon. Okay? Pero iba yung pakiramdam mo na pagdating ng competition, aakyat sa stage yung mga bata at tatanggap ng medal. So yun na yung pinaka-sweldo mo, no? Ayan po.
Thank you. All right. Thank you very much, All right? So talagang labor of love, the labor of love, and also yung giving back yung ating mga lessons for today. Tama? Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Okay, let's any other can we ask the two guests or last ayun, that's your last remarks for our
Oo.
viewers
Neri.
before we proceed with Miss Neri, Nerissa, Isay.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. As we mga alumni from DYCI, we are very fortunate kasi management talaga ng DYCI yung nagpo-push sa amin. Sila pa yung nag talagang kung ano yung kailangan namin binibigay nila and more than what we need pa yung pino-provide. So, we are very, very fortunate for that fact. And I would like to add din po na as educators, yung mga students kasi na nag-undergo ng buong robotics process, starting from the training to competition until the awarding and the events after, iba kasi yung ang dami mong matututunan. Hindi lang basta robotics, hindi ka lang matututong basta mag-program or mag-create, mag-build ng robot. Character building kasi siya. It trains you to be to work with others, it trains you to trust others, it trains you ang daming nabibuild na character. And actually I really owe my who I am right now, what I can do, and my work ethics, I really owe it to my robotics experience. So if as educators magkakaroon kayo ng robotics program sa school, it is my hope na hindi lang natin siya titingnan just as our new task or added burden para sa atin. Kasi for the participants, for the students na sasali sa competition, it is really a big opportunity for them to let to let themselves grow in avenues na hindi nila alam na mag-grow sila. So yun po. Maraming salamat.
Thank you. Sir Rox?
Tagal na ng na sumasali ng contest. Ang isang reward din na masasabi ko na nakuha ko yung mga bata na tinrain ko ay nagkaroon ng interest sa science and technology. At yung mga pumapasok sa robotics, paglabas nila lalo silang nagkakaroon ng love, no? For math, for science, and ngayon nasa na sila. Marami na akong mga estudyante na meron akong estudyante na nag-cum laude sa engineering sa UP, no? Meron akong mga estudyante na nagtatrabaho na sa iba't ibang bansa. They are engineers, they are multimedia artists, no? So nakakatuwa, no? Meron pang isa, pag eto gumraduate, kauna-unahang robotics team member na magiging pari, no? So nakikita ko na lang parang yung isang wedding, kanina bang wedding yon na yung ring bearer ba yon, yung ginawa ng robot. It was like last year. So napakalawak ng pag-join mo sa robotics, hindi lang siya robotics. Nandun na lahat, no? Ito nga lang yung program na nagpabind sa lahat Science, math, even music, even arts, no? Nandun na lahat. Motivate your students, your teachers, your administrators to participate in or have a program in robotics. That is our future. I hope na we are on board. Okay? Maraming salamat po.
Yes. Thank you, Sir Wax, Sir Rox, and Nerissa, thank you.
Thank you, everyone, sa ating mga
Sir Wax,
guests.
hindi ko pwede. Alright, thank you.
Oo.
Thank you,
Okay.
everyone.
All right, Miss Jen.
Okay.
Yes,
Yes,
thank
Okay,
I'm
you,
now we
next.
continue
Miss
our
Jen.
series of webinar. No?
Okay.
Ma'am Jen will now have the floor. Ma'am Jen.
I'll have I'll have the screen. Ayoko ng floor. Okay, hold on. Ay, ay, ay. Okay, so I pulled it right here. Ayan, dito tayo. Kita ba, Sir Wax? Sir Wax, are you there?
Kita.
Okay, game na. Okay, so I'm tasked to do robotics and competitions on social emotional learning. So, nakakaiyak ba? If you look at my picture, nakakaiyak ba mag-robotics? Is it building me or breaking me? Is it building me or breaking me if I was the student? Or if I am the parent, or if I am the coach, or if I am the admin. So, yung ating topic for today will have three sections: the competition impact on students, tips from experts, and parenting a competing child. Okay, so this the backbone of this presentation came from this study. It's using the TORSA to assess high school students' attitude towards science after competing in the first robotics competition. It's an exploratory study, and the aim of the study is to look at high school students' attitude towards science after participating in a robotics competition. This study was actually done on a competition that is First Robotics, which is also part of the Lego Education, and Felta is also sponsoring its First Lego League is part of the First Robotics competition. Okay. So according dito, results indicated that the students who participated in the robotics competition had a more positive attitude towards
Ma'am
science
Jen.
and science pa.
Ma'am Jen, yung PowerPoint mo. Naka-ano kayo, naka full screen lang ano.
Oh, wait
Screen ang
lang.
lumalabas.
Okay, wait lang. Bakit gano'n? Wait
Ulit.
lang ha. Ulit. Di-discuss ako pero hindi lumalabas. Share screen ulit ako. Hindi lumalabas? Sabi mo okay na. Wait. There's more. Eto.
Yan. Okay
Ay,
na.
Diyos mo. Okay. Yan, ulitin natin. Sorry. Kita?
Yan, okay na.
Ay, Diyos me. Okay. Robotics competition. Ulitin natin. Sabi ko nga sa picture, isa ba siyang nakakaiyak or masayang experience. So again, we have three sections: competition impacts, tips from expert, and how as adults are we looking at a competing child. So ito yung aking sabi kanina, based on results of the study that was conducted, the competition, those who participated in the competition had a more positive attitude towards science and science-related areas in four of the seven categories. Ang in-examine nila is social implication of science, normality of scientists, attitude towards scientific inquiry, and adoption of scientific attitude. Okay, so what will be the impact of the competitions or being part of the robotics team on students. So we are discussing about social and emotional learning. So sa social and emotional learning, ano ba 'yon? It's a composition of self-management where students manage emotions and behaviors to achieve one's goal. So ito ay hindi lang for students, it also goes with the coaches as they undergo the building of the team. Self awareness is recognizing one's emotion and values as well as one's strengths and challenges. Responsible decision making is on making ethical and constructive choices for personal and social behavior. We also have relationship skills. Hindi lang puro relationship goals, no? Relationship skills is forming positive relationship, working in teams, dealing effectively with other people. And social awareness is showing understanding and empathy for others. Okay? So there are, according to Indiana Socio Emotional Learning Committees, there are 7 parts: mindset, collaboration, there's critical thinking, insight, connection, regulation, and sensory motor integration. It's more of how do we react socially and emotionally to the things that happens within the experience. So, nagkakaroon yung mga bata ng development, ang soft skill development. Kasi yung mga technical skills, given yon. So, paano naman yung soft skill side? When we are placing our students in schools, we would say we have a failure to teach the whole child if we did not touch on the areas here. So the focus of formal education system is on academic achievement. So nandun lang siya sa pink side, yung sa cognitive side. Nakakalimutan niya yung physical, nakakalimutan yung social and yung emotional. We focus more on delivering content rather than creating a holistic approach to teaching the child of what, or with not actually teaching him what to be, but guiding him on choosing who and how he wants to develop and what he or she wants to be in the future. So, what is social emotional learning? There are 5. So, ito yung mga 5 na yon. First is self-awareness. Well, during the experience, are the students able to identify emotions? Alam niya ba kung kailan siya magkakaroon ng tantrums, kailan siya puwedeng mag-tantrums, kailan siya puwedeng maging masaya, or kailan niya puwedeng express yung kanyang, joy, or when is that best time to identify, when is the best time to express yung kanyang, heartache. Kasi, as I was telling my students, you have to find yourself first before you relate to other people. Are you having actual self accurate self perception? Do you see yourself as who you are, or are you pretending to be somebody you're not? So that is a very controversial part of it. Are you aware that you have this specific value na consistent ka? Are you aware na ito yung habit mo? Yung habit mo ba, do you know that you're habitually doing something that may or may not be hurtful for other people? Yung self-awareness, do you know yourself? Do you know oneself? Okay, and then, are you socially aware? Do you have a perspective taking? Do you have empathy towards other people? Do you appreciate diversity? Do you respect other people? Are you socially aware? Do you know how to behave in a specific area? Do you know how to respect judges? For example, if you are competing, how do you react to them when you don't get pleased by their comments? How would you react? So yung empathy, if you see other teams struggling, do you try to help them just like uh, how other teams are helping you when you need help? So yung social awareness is being developed as you go out of the school system and into the competition environment. Next is responsible decision making. Are you identifying the problem? Are you analyzing situation? Or are you making decisions based on what you like, not based on what you know? So you have to make sure that if you are a coach, you have to make sure that your students rely on facts before making decisions. And you have to make sure that as you coach them, you are coaching them how to properly identify problems, analyze and evaluate the situation, and then try to think of possible solutions and trying to decide on which of those solutions am I going to use, and reflect if the decision you made was ethically responsible and and you were able to solve the problem without compromising other people. Okay, self-management. Ito yung sinasabi ni Sir Rox kanina. Are you regulating your emotions? Are you regulating your thoughts? Are you regulating your behaviors? At the same time, are you managing the stress over the time? Kasi according to Sir Rox, you have four quadrants. So, know when is it a priority but it's not urgent? When is it urgent and a priority? Sometimes we go too lax and then there is impulse control. So dahil deadline na, ang init ng ulo mo and you cannot decide logically, wala ka ng responsible at yung kanina, responsible decision making. You decide because that's what you want and not because that's what's needed. And self-management is goal setting. Are you still set for a common goal? And if you're working collaboratively, how are you going to act as part of a group? Because not most competitions are by group. And through those, you have the ability to develop relationship skills, the ability to establish and maintain healthy and rewarding relationship with diverse people or groups of people or individuals is is the goal for developing socially and emotionally. So we have to practice good communication skills, responsible and ethical social engagement and relationship buildings, not just with your teammates but also with your coaches and your administrators, and so therefore you are going to develop collaboration and teamwork. Okay, so ito yung SEL. So within the SEL or social emotional learning, it is built around the classroom and built each individual classroom is built around in a school, and then when you go out and you compete, you are interacting with families and communities, so dapat is extending beyond the classroom. So based on the study that was conducted, these are what happened or what were figured out. The normality of a scientist, those kids who engage in competitions tend to be someone who looks ordinary but has thoughts like a scientist who can solve problems in science and can find something new. It says that the views of students towards a scientist in order to be able to position themselves as learners of science. So they don't look at themselves as I am a student who study science or scientific methodologies, but I am a student who will be a scientist someday. And those skills, scientific skills, are just being developed within me now through experience, through actual classroom learning, and through competition. So there are a lot to learn and develop when you are competing kasi yun yung parang a taste of real life experience. Pre-taste ang tawag. Okay? So ano ba yung scientific attitudes and values? Ito daw yon. Critical mindedness, suspended judgment, respect for evidence, honesty, objectivity, willingness to change opinions, open-mindedness, and questioning attitude. So we have suspended judgment, restraint. Ito yung pinaka gusto ko dito. You don't become judgmental. You try to restrain your judgment until such time that you look at the facts and honestly and objectively present your opinion to other people. We are trying to help a student or a coach, even a co-coach, when so kasi may mga lumang coaches tawag ko, and then we have new coaches. They are not used to they were given a task, therefore they think that kailangan manalo. But they forget na robotics competitions is like a big community of coaches and students who are open minded because they have been through a lot and they have gained respect and showed respect to other people. And then here comes the new coach. So as an old coach or like a seasoned coach, we have to coach the new coaches. Sabi nga, we're not there always. So we have to have respect for evidences and be willing to change opinions and give honest but uh, ethical opinions and questions to other coaches and even the judges and to the administrators then. So there are 8 attitudes developed. And remember, the students are looking at us as coaches, and the way we behave in the competition arena is what the students can acquire. Well, it's not always automatic now. What you show is what they do because they also have their own mindsets. But remember, if the consistency of what they see in us as coaches is what they acquire, if they see you as a good model of in terms of values and norms, then they might adapt you. And if they see you as not a very good role model, they might adapt you as well. So be careful what you are in front of your kids when you're competing, because they might end up similar to what you show. So also, there's a adoption of scientific attitudes. So remember, studies have shown that hands-on activities, and that includes competing in the, sabi nga ni Sir Rox, mga labor of love time na na-spend, which can promote students' motivation to learn science. Because if they compete and they see that there's more need to learn more, then it should be automatic. There should be intrinsic motivation that the students will try to look for the answers to their questions without you telling them to look for it. It also can effectively improve student scientific attitude. Yun nga yung sinabi natin earlier. And there is that competitions or hands-on activities are highly instructive in experience. There is exploration in the laboratory, and therefore it improves comprehension on scientific concepts better than those that are just acquiring the knowledge through regular classroom studies. So the more they get exposed to competitions, the more they will learn, not from the book but through the instructive experience. Kasi it's becoming more of an intrinsic motivation to learn the scientific attitude and apply it rather than you telling the students what to do. Okay. So if you have more experience on competing, you can also compete in the international arena. Like Neri said, she's been through a lot of countries, and she's been through a lot of competition in different countries rather, and also locally. So best tips from the experts I've seen on this. The materials and the resources are on the last slide of this presentation. I'll share with you later. Best tips from the experts. So paano naman natututo tayo in the community, socially. Okay, how to succeed? Don't try to be perfect. Just do your best. Because once you did your best and you get satisfied that wala kang regrets. So, nagkakaroon ka ng sense of responsibility on what you did. I did that, therefore, this is what I get, and this is what I learned. Therefore, the next time I try, I'll try to be better and not just perfect. Because nobody's perfect. There's always flaws. Okay. Tips from the expert. How to succeed with your robotics team. First is the Chinese way. So ito not being ano ha. This is from a resource. I have it on the slide. The Chinese way daw is learn from the best, combine them, and become better. So remember that what works for a certain team probably might not work for you. Wag mong ipilit. Okay? There are ideas that you've seen with other teams that works, and you can try with your team, but it doesn't mean na pag hindi nag-work, ulit-ulit mong gagawin. So, you learn socially by trying to look at what's good with other people. Same as the coaches. What works with one coach that might not work with another coach kasi you have your own techniques. And of course, what works with the first team does not always work with the second team. The key is to know your students, to know your team, and to know your admin. How far will my admin support me, and how far can I support my students, and how far can my student work with the team in terms of a common goal. The idea is to take as many teams, and so what I do is I encourage my students to go around, especially in an open category, go around and look how neat the other teams worked on their projects, and try to learn something from other teams, and then go back and reflect what did we do wrong, or what did we do That's not sufficient to meet the needs of the rules in the competition. Okay. The second one is the American way. Resources. Get out there and fundraise like crazy. Sabi nga ni sir, we cannot do it on our own. We have very limited budget, especially if your team members are not very privileged in terms of economic resources. So, but the basic key is a lot would do resourcing and would fundraise, not really fundraise, but they would solicit funds. But it's not, we should not be limited to asking money. We may be asking for sponsors to visit, and like hardware stores, maybe you can ask for tools or power tools and not just ask for money, because when the common mistake is asking for money is like them thinking, 'pag nagbigay ba ako ng financial aid, sure ba ako na ibibili talaga nila yon? But then, for most cases, there really are instances that we need money, like not everyone can sponsor a plane ticket. Sabi nga ni Sir Rox nung pupunta ng Costa Rica, the cost of the ticket just to get there is really scary na if you look at the figures. But then sometimes it's not just the money, sometimes it's materials or sponsorships, like we can sponsor your plane ticket for one student, something like that. Just basically do whatever you can to get what you want. Okay. The Russian way naman daw is working hard. Nothing is easier to do and had more impact on your machine than simply putting the most work as possibly as you can. So, ang sabi nila, if you want to beat me, work harder than me. So, dapat mag-work harder daw tayo. So, if you look at other teams and if you look at other students, be inspired of how much they work and try to work harder than they are already working. Because sometimes, sabi ko nga, you have to have self-awareness. Gaano na ba ako ka-effort in terms of effort in comparison with other people? Baka naman yung effort ko ay easy-easy lang sa kanila. Or baka naman, sobra naman. Sobra naman ng work mo. Until such time you get exhausted and you tend to stop working, therefore, the work is not finished pa din. So sabi nga, find time to rest, but work hard or even harder than necessary. And the German way naman daw is be organized. There is no time to waste and you have to be efficient if you want to be good. So be organized, manage your time. Ayan ulit yung presentation ni Sir Rox, and yun din yung manage resources naman yung kay Isay. So if you can find people that can help you and you organize yourself, use the calendar, make use of a list, and you have to set measurable goals with deadlines. So, pero if you look at other students naman, you might think, ano ba tong batang to? Wala ba tong pangarap? Kasi parang ganun na lang yung ginagawa niya. It's not that. It's sometimes those kids are what we call late bloomers. Okay, you'll be surprised. Sabi nga ni Sir Rox kanina, you'll see them and you'll realize they do better when they're in college or when they're done with their college life. It's some of them are still taking time. Our goal is not to force them to be somebody you want them to be, but we have to guide them and try to find the right career pathway. So emotionally they're ready, socially they're ready. So we don't want them to be, sometimes naman we have a very good kids and we try to boast to other people and say, oh, this is my student, this is my team, and he is this and that. The pressure you are trying to build is not consistent with how the kid want himself or herself to be seen by the community. So socially, dahil ipinagmalaki na natin siya, our administrator even printed a big banner or a big poster saying, this kid won this and that. And now the community changed the way that the kid wants to be seen by the community. So, parang na-advance mag-isip. Parang, yung batang yan magiging ganito someday. And then, it turned out na hindi pala siya naging engineer. Naging ganito siya. And then now, the community changed the way they looked at the student or the adult now. So, tapos na siya sa transition. So, sometimes we can make or break a child. So, therefore, we have to be conscious if we are the parent or we are the coach or we are the student trying to be raising a kid and getting to know the kid on how he or she wants to be raised. We have social and we have emotional impact to that student. And that transitions us to the section 3, parenting a competing child. So, paano ba tayo? Ito yung question. Are you a stage mom slash dad slash coach slash administrator? Ayan, di ko nalagay. Dapat nilagay ko. So, if your answer is no, let's see, the next slides will try to guide you. Are you do you have that? Because if you have that, you might be. You're just not self-aware of what you are exhibiting in terms of behavior. Okay. So first, are you a stage mom, dad slash coach slash administrator? Stage moms are at the root of it all, insecure. Okay, tignan natin. We often think that insecure people are mousy or shy, pero often working overtime to make sure that they think they are as good as or better than you. So most of us daw are insecure amongst us. Okay, what do we do? What do stage moms feel? Dahil hindi niya nakuha yung gusto niya in terms of self-worth, you tend to compare yourself. Or like if you were, for example, Nerissa was a student before and she was part of a team. Now, if she is now the coach, will she look at her students the same way as she looked at herself? Sometimes we impose what we want to the students, and as coaches, we were not able to win before when we were the part of the team, and now we impose to them. They need to feel that their kid are the best, and the only way to get that confirmation is constantly subject their child or their students to competitive environments where they get quantitative proof of the fact. So there's the proof of the fact that kailangan manalo sila, kailangan mapakita na nanalo sila just to prove other people that I was the best coach, or I had the best school, or I am the best administrator because my team is winning. So sometimes it came from insecurities, but then you become pushy. So wag tayong as coach and administrator, wag naman tayo super pushy. Let them transition and glide smoothly over the competition and just have their backs down. Okay? Number 2, stage moms loves to compare their kids to others. So, sa stage mom daw, is it enough? It's not enough to say my son loves basketball. Ang ginagawa daw ay sinasabi mo ang mga facts. Sinasabi mo, he loves basketball because he was able to shoot this much number of points, and he was able to assist this number of things. And it's never sufficient to have a daughter participate in a dance. Lagi mong ine-emphasize daw, if you're a stage mom, lagi mong ine-emphasize na siya yung lead dancer, siya yung lead singer, siya yung team captain of the competition robotics team. So for a stage mom, you are a stage mom daw. If it's not enough for you to experience success, kailangan mo daw i-emphasize sa madlang people, i-post na the best team leader or everything about like in details, just to state facts, and sabi nga, provide quantitative evidences. Okay. Number 3, stage moms will sacrifice or stage coaches will sacrifice. Nako sir, parang guilty tayo dito sa labor of love. So stage moms will sacrifice other very important things like family time, family budget, or church attendance to pursue accolades for their kids. Yun, medyo guilty kami dito. Kasi nga minsan, yeah, like for example, my husband wants to go somewhere and I will have to tell him, oh no, we can't leave because we have a competition at the end of the month. Therefore, this will be my priority, not my family na. So it's dangerously easy to rationalize subverting your spouse's idea of reasonable spending or your own conscious about the time and effort involved. Stage moms tell themselves that the benefit to the child outweighs the other principles. So parang lahat gagawin ko, sacrifice ko everything just for my kid to win. But remember, as they grow older, the kids will have social impact naman. So the family, sometimes it happens to me because my family will have to decide on a date only when I am available. And that is very rare. I'm not always available. So I look at it like lagi na lang ba ako ang cause or lagi na lang bang kami for example, if I have a kid, if I will be part of a team, me and my student or me and my kid, lagi na lang bang kami yung magde-dictate sa family na we cannot have a family out of town activity just because I am not available. So we have to we have to look at that because when the kid grows, they might think that it's okay to sacrifice family because of your career, and that is when most families fail, and for some partners that ends up to divorce or annulment. So yun yung mga long term. If the kids are growing with you as a coach and they see that you have more time for the students than your family, there's no balance, then they might think in the future, if they have their own families, it's okay to sacrifice family over career. So yun yung mga questionable questions that might arise. Number 4, stage moms don't appreciate the lessons that come with losing. So, sabi dito, she doesn't see the value in the total experience. It's more of, sa lahat ng ginawa natin, natalo pa rin tayo. We had 1 year to prepare for the pro because you're in the, sabi nga ni Sir Box, the open category is the, kumbaga, worst case scenario. If you're joining everything from the tiniest hot glue gun to the grandest lighting is a problem. But then, with most parents who are stage mothers or most coaches who are stage coaches, is not looking at the value of the total experience. The struggle on trying to get from one point to another, the struggle between learning the value over is my prototype working or not, the time spent with kids trying to balance school with competition, coaches trying to balance school tasks with actual competitions, that means a lot. And at the end of the day, it's not about where you are placed, like are you the first place winner, are you the champion, are you the MVP. Those are just pluses. You have to see the value in a holistic point of view. It's not about the winning, it's about finishing the competition, and it's about getting that experience that not everybody have the privilege to achieve. And lastly, are you uh, a student, or are you a coach, or are you um, a parent who lives in the past up to now? Hindi ka pa maka-move on. Okay? And all the years that you were like, for example, back in 2008, ganito lang kami. Like, we were the first placer. But after the 2008, wala na namang sumunod. Pero you still live in the 2008 thinking that what happened in when you were in 2008 and you're doing the same thing, and you're still thinking up to now is 2020 that it's going to work, then you have to move on, making sure that we need to realize that our time has passed. Kailangan na nating magbago ng strategy, kailangan na nating magbago ng um, techniques, no? So don't live in the past. If you are still living in the past, then you're a stage mom and dad, and you always uh, think that what your children achieve or don't achieve ay based on us. It should be based on them. So it's as the student now, it's their time to shine, and it's not yours. And don't use them as a plaque. Use them as show them the support they need in order for them to create their own achievements. Okay? And there are 6 ways to help the child overcome the fear of failure. You have to change your attitude about failing. Failing is always there. You will always fail at one point in your life, but you should be mindful and how to pick yourself up, how to teach them how to pick themselves up, encourage them to celebrate little mistakes as an opportunity to learn. Okay? Emphasize effort and not the ability. If they tried and then that's one goal reached already. They have to have the struggle. They have to feel struggling in order for them to know their be self-aware, like what I said earlier. Be self-aware of what they can and cannot do and how to improve on skills that they cannot do. Okay? Demonstrate unconditional love. Make it clear to your students and to your children and to your coaches and teams, if you are an administrator, that even when they make mistakes, you are not judging them as weak and you are still going to support them in their second trial. Right, the second time na sila magjo-join. Okay? And number 4, conduct the worst case scenario exercise. So if you are going to ask them questions now. If you are going to make them present to a competition, for example, again, open category. Worst case scenario is ask them everything and anything under the sun. If they cannot answer your questions, therefore they are not ready. We have to brainstorm with the kids. You have to brainstorm with the students. I remember before competitions, I would go to my principal and ask the kids to present in front of the principal because we've been working together with the kids for so long, for like a year. But we never, we some of us will always forget to seek other um, team members that is outside your team. For example, your English critic, your English teacher. Let the kids present to the English teacher so they can get tips on how to present. If you want to look at the judges, let's ask science teachers like a panel, a science teacher, a math teacher, and let them ask the question. It's like a mock presentation and ask your administrators to sit. And so it's also one way of letting your administrators know how much effort you're putting into it. Maybe they will, if they have not supported you all the way, maybe if they see that, they will support you now. Okay. And 5, help them focus on the solution. Discuss the actions and the consequences of their actions. Sabi ko nga, ethically and responsible decision making is what we need to to give those students. Let them look at the solution and be responsible for the solutions and the decisions that they made. And of course, after everything, even before we are doing planning. And remember, at the end of each competition, we have to do conversations, yung evaluation, and brainstorming on what are our successes and what are our failures, and how do we succeed in our next endeavors. We are always looking at the iceberg analogy. People only see the tip of the iceberg and they don't see what we've been through. And the only people who are qualified to talk about those are those who worked with the team, and ignore those who are just making little fuzz. Well, listen to the buzzes, but don't engage into an unhealthy conversation with them, because the only people who knows what really happened and what is really what are the facts are those who are working with the project. So sometimes we spend our energy listening to people who are not even entitled to critic because they haven't even helped anybody. But what we need to do is look at ourselves, look at our weaknesses, look at our strengths, and work hard to develop skills necessary to overcome your weaknesses and necessary to amplify your strengths. And therefore, um, your failures, rejections, and will be overcome, and then your persistence will be developed, and the discipline, what's that's the most important part of it. So we have to be empathetic of the students. If you are the coach, sometimes we overimpose decisions and we don't hear from them. Let's listen to the students. Let's listen to the administrators. Let's listen to the community. What does the community really need based compared to what do we need as a coach? So we are going to make or break a student. So therefore, it is our responsibility to make sure that we are doing our part, not just on the technical side, but also in the social and the emotional side of it. Okay, and if you have questions, these are my contact details. And this presentation template was from SlidesGo, and these are my references. And you can always take a screenshot of these references, and I got this from these sources. Okay, so Sir Wax.
Thank you, Miss Jen. All right.
Maraming salamat, Ma'am
Yan.
Jen, for the
Yeah.
insight about the social impact, no, with the
Dami.
students at
Yes.
mga
You know,
robotics
oh,
participants.
ako
Yes, ma'am.
before I ask my question, I would just like to tell a story. When I started the robotics program about 20 years ago, there was one boy who threatened, uh, gusto mo ibato ko tong robot ko kasi hindi umaandar eh kasi because he wasn't following the rules. So another
Mhm.
example was I always judge no for the past 20 something years in the World Robot Olympiad, either in open category or in regular category. One of the experiences I had was, would you believe I had a death threat?
Yan,
One of
naglalag
the
ka.
experiences I had was, would you believe I had a death threat? I will kill you. Sabi sa akin ng isang bata.
Oh my
Buti na lang
gosh.
foreigner siya. So, yeah, foreigner siya. And then at one point, there was a coach who, because this is hindi to Filipinos, no? Got his phone, he started shouting at these three kids, and then they were like, I would say mga 7-year-old, elementary, ay, they, siguro mga 9, 10-year-olds lang. Dahil hindi tumakbo yung robot nila, he got his phone, and then he sinira niya. Tapos he was just shouting, making a big scandal there in during the World Robot Olympiad. So my question is like, what is your take on EQ versus IQ? Because we know there are a lot of smart kids out there who can be part of the robotics team, but what is the balance between emotional quotient as to the smart kid,
Mm.
the intelligent quotient? Miss Jen.
Sabi, well, I've been using this quote. If the EQ is high, the IQ is low. So sometimes I forgot where that came from, but I've been seeing it a lot, and I tend to believe because sometimes when we are so emotionally unstable, we tend to say something and we tend to do something na hindi naman talaga natin gustong gawin. Hindi nga dapat natin naisip gawin, but then it became involuntary na nasabi mo na, and then those things, especially if I say something now when it's recorded, it's going to be there. We have our digital footprints. And if somebody, like now, the social media, the boom of the social media, everything that was caught on cam, and the problem with that is na video yon dahil nag-scandal ka. Kung di ka nag-scandal, hindi mo naman na-trigger yung magbi-video. The only thing that would be caught on camera is the during, not the before, and then not the after. Because they will stop recording when they got what they want to showcase and post it in social media. So what happens is, like for me, as an example, when I am mad, I walk out the door. I leave the kids there working. And then sabi nga ni Sir Rox, inhale and then exhale. Because it's like clearing your mind. So as coaches, we can say something that the kid will forever remember and will always, like parang LSS kumbaga sa music. It will always echo in their mind. Now, what you said during the time that they were competing, and then napahiya siya. Imagine, ma'am, you were talking about World Robot Olympiad and how many thousands of people. Tapos nakafocus, 'di ba, when you are in the competition, there's a big screen, and then it's a random people trying to, and then you were focused, and then it happened. Imagine how much emotional and social trauma is that going to cause the child. So my suggestion to those coaches is try to inhale, exhale, and remember that you are in a public place. And ganun din, ma'am, it's not just the coaches, and there are parents also, and who are trying to pull the
Mhm.
judges. Hey, my student is not done, and the judges were going to the next booth, and they're trying to pull the judges to the kids booth. So yun yung mga sometimes we are trying to be so concerned, and we forgot na the kids are trying to be just normal people, and we are forcing them to be somebody that they don't want to be pictured as. Maybe subconsciously gusto nila 'yon, pero it's not always that.
Mm.
So 'yun yung
Yes, thank you. Si
mga
Sir Wax, hindi
trauma.
marunong magalit yan eh. Si Sir Wax, hindi marunong magalit yan eh. Kakantahan ka lang eh.
Yeah.
Di ba?
Nagagalit
Kakantahan
'yan.
lang ng mga kundiman mo.
Pero hindi phone, mga feeding bottles yung binabato.
Feeding
Feeding
bottles.
bottles.
Yes. So, yeah, thank you so much. Bale, yeah. Especially now that we're in the digital world, yeah, yung
Mhm.
mga digital footprints na pwede kang i-video lahat, even your comments,
Mm.
lahat is already there and you can't erase it. We have to really be
Mm.
very vigilant and patience talaga natin sa ano. And even the students, I think it goes both ways. You have to be
Mm.
patient with your co-teammates and then also your coach and even your
Oo.
parents. Oo. And
Self-awareness.
even for the parents because I have actually I've experienced this. Yeah, as you said, they'll pull you aside. Ma'am, may reklamo ako. Ma'am, or yung mga coach, may
Mm.
binidyo ako. Ganun, ganun. It's not about
Mm.
winning. It's about really we're teaching our students that
Yan, nagla-lag si ma'am.
we're trying,
Galag.
yes, oh, yes. We're trying to be fair and we're doing our best to give the best the experience of the students. Okay, so that's it
Mm.
for me. And
Yes.
then any questions we have on the floor, Sir Wax?
We don't have questions. Siguro naman understandable na yung naging
Yep.
presentation ni Ma'am Jen. Oo.
So very clear.
Very
Nandiyan pa si Sir
informative
Rox.
naman. Very clear. Nandito pa
Si
Sir
Sir
Rox.
Oo, nandiyan pa. Sir Rox, nandiyan ka pa ba?
No, kasi we only have time check. We only have about 4 minutes
We have
left.
4 minutes.
Alas 12
Yes.
na, yes.
So
Oo,
I
yan.
think
Wala.
we had a lot today, and to end the breeding of champions, I think for my side. So let's give our last remark. So the three of us.
Mhm.
The last remark would really be that like participating in robotics competitions is not the end all and be all. It has to go
Mhm.
beyond. It is really to shape our students to be good people, to be good people, to be good
Productive.
persons. Yes. So
Mm.
so this is really the essence. Not it's not just about winning. It's really about shaping our learners to be better people for our family, for our community, and for our society. So that's it.
Mm.
Yes.
Yeah, and then self-fulfillment, because sometimes we try to make a student. We are not even the student. Let them be themselves and let them enjoy what they achieved, and let them do what they want to do, and not force them to be somebody na they don't want. Yun. Mas ano eh, kaya
Mm-mm.
kaya nawawala sila sa career pathway na gusto nila, and eventually we force them to be engineers because they started robotics. Yung pala gusto nilang maging pari or gusto nilang maging nurses. But then we force them to be engineers just because they were part of a robotics team. It's a good chapter in your life to be part of a team, and what goes beyond is something we are not in control. We can only guide them. Yun ang
Yeah, that's
aking part
Also
okay.
yung
Sir, what?
part
experience,
me.
no? Very
Yeah.
important din, no? Yung experience na makukuha ng ating mga estudyante with the coach, no? Parang sa experience pa lang panalo ka na eh. Oy, lumaban ako sa ganitong
Mhm.
competition. Kahit di ako nanalo, yung experience ko para mag-boost ang sarili ko na sa susunod na competition mas gagalingan ko pa. Okay?
Correct.
So, yun yung
All
masasabi
right.
ko.
Okay, so thank you so much. So this gives a close to Breeding Champion series, and we move
Yep.
on
October
to
na.
another series for the month of
Mhm.
October in preparation for the DepEd opening of classes. So with
Yes, good
this,
luck sa lahat.
Good luck.
see you next
Maraming
week.
po salamat. Yes, maraming po salamat sa ating mga teachers na nakasubaybay, no, at sa ating mga team replay na patuloy na umaantabay para po sa mga expertise na ibinabahagi po ng PELTA, ng Semified at ng Power. So muli, keep safe po ang bawat isa. No, 1 week na lang, pasok na. So mga teachers
Yes.
busy na for preparation. Kahit ako, no, busy ako sa pag-prepare. I believe na kaya natin to, no? With that, Ed, kaya po natin ito.
Yep.
Okay? So,
Shout out sa mga loyal viewers natin, si Ma'am Jocelyn, si Sir Juni, yan, meron tayo si Ma'am Amy. Salamat for tuning in. See you again next
salamat
time.
sa inyong lahat. Okay.
See you next week. Okay,
So,
thank you very much.
Thank you. We say goodbye for now. See you on our next series of webinar. Thank you.
Powerful weekend. God bless.
Keep safe.
Keep
Confidence in learning isn't built overnight. It happens every day. Wherever there are problems to solve, and hands to help solve them. Fueling curiosity and creativity, lifelong learning, and lasting life skills. Confidence is sparked and nurtured in every classroom where STEAM learning happens and students learn together. Growing day after day after day with the help of amazing teachers and the hands-on learning tools of LEGO Education. Learning starts with confidence. Confidence in learning starts with LEGO Education.
I got it.